Welcome to Lesson 5, Views, Viewpoints, and Stakeholders, an essential part of understanding how architects communicate complex ideas to diverse audiences. In this session, we'll explore how TOGAF defines and uses views, viewpoints, and stakeholders to ensure every architecture delivers the right message to the right audience. By the end of this lesson, you'll be able to define views, viewpoints, and stakeholders as per TOGAF 10, understand how stakeholder concerns shape architecture deliverables, identify typical enterprise stakeholders and their needs, and apply viewpoints to ensure architecture remains relevant, traceable, and exam-ready. Let's begin by understanding why this concept is at the heart of architecture communication. Why this lesson matters. Enterprise architecture is not just about creating diagrams, it's about making complexity understandable. Different audiences see the enterprise differently. A CEO focuses on business value and ROI. A CIO focuses on feasibility and risk. A developer focuses on integrations and APIs. TOGAF provides a structured way to satisfy all of them using views and viewpoints, giving every stakeholder a clear, customized perspective on the same architecture. Let's define the key terms. A stakeholder is anyone with an interest in the outcome of the architecture. A concern is what that stakeholder cares about, for example, performance, cost, or security. A viewpoint defines how to construct and interpret a view. It's like a lens or a recipe. And a view is the representation you create, a diagram, matrix, or description that addresses those concerns. In short, viewpoint equals how to look. View equals what you see. Stakeholders, the center of architecture communication. Every architecture serves people with different goals. These are our stakeholders. Typical stakeholder groups include executives who care about business alignment and ROI, business managers who look for process efficiency, data and application architects who need clear interfaces and governance, technology architects who worry about performance and standards, security and compliance teams who demand risk control, operations who require maintainability and support. As architects, we must identify each stakeholder and their concerns early in the ADM to ensure every concern is addressed by an appropriate view. The role of concerns. A concern is a specific issue that affects architecture decisions. Common examples include performance, security, integration, cost, and regulatory compliance. If a stakeholder's concern isn't represented in any view, it means that the architecture isn't addressing something important. TOGAF ensures that every concern connects to a viewpoint, and that every viewpoint produces a view that provides an answer. A viewpoint tells us how to construct a view that will satisfy a particular concern. It specifies which stakeholder or stakeholders the view serves, the concerns that need to be addressed, the models, techniques, or notations to use, and what artifacts to include. Think of a viewpoint as a template or recipe that ensures consistency. TOGAF allows organizations to define their own set of standard viewpoints, for example, business, security, or implementation viewpoints. Views, the architecture representations. A view is the actual representation, a diagram, matrix, or narrative that you produce using a particular viewpoint. For instance, a business process view for executives, a data flow view for data architects, a deployment view for infrastructure teams. Views make architecture real and understandable. They translate abstract structure into visuals that directly address stakeholder concerns. Relationship between stakeholders, viewpoints, and views. This relationship is one of the most important and most tested concepts in the TOGAF Foundation exam. Here's how it works. Stakeholders express concerns. The architect selects viewpoints that define how to address those concerns, and then creates views based on those viewpoints. For example, if the CIO is concerned about scalability, we might use the performance viewpoint to produce a system performance view. It's a simple but powerful chain: stakeholders, concerns, viewpoints, views. Common enterprise viewpoints. TOGAF 10 defines a variety of common viewpoints to guide you. Business viewpoint for executives and process owners using capability maps and value streams. Information systems viewpoint for data and application architects using data models and integration diagrams. Technology viewpoint for infrastructure teams using network and platform topologies. Security viewpoint for compliance officers. using access control or risk matrices. Implementation and migration viewpoint for program managers, showing roadmaps and transitions. Governance viewpoint for architecture boards, showing compliance logs and assessments. These are templates that help you choose the right way to communicate with each audience. Views and viewpoints across ADM phases. Let's see where views and viewpoints fit within the ADM. During the preliminary phase and Phase A, we identify stakeholders and define the key viewpoints to use. In Phase B through D, we develop detailed views for each domain: business, data, application, and technology. During Phases E and F, we build implementation and migration views. And in Phases G and H, we add governance and change management views to track compliance. This continuous alignment ensures every ADM output stays stakeholder-driven and purpose-focused. Foundation Exam Lens. For your foundation exam, remember, a stakeholder has concerns about the system. A concern defines what matters to that stakeholder. A viewpoint specifies how to create a view that resolves those concerns. A view is the actual representation, the picture or model you produce. If you see a question asking which defines how to construct a view, the correct answer is always viewpoint. Quick review time. Question 1. What's the difference between a view and a viewpoint? Viewpoint defines how to build it. View is what you produce. Question 2. What links stakeholders to views? Concerns. Question 3. Which ADM phases define stakeholder views? Preliminary and Phase A. Question 4. What's the goal of using viewpoints? To ensure every concern is addressed in a structured, traceable way. Micro assignment. Now let's apply it. Think about a recent transformation, maybe an ERP migration, a cloud rollout, or a digital services launch. Identify 3 key stakeholders, 1 concern for each, and a viewpoint that would address it. Then decide what kind of view you'd produce: a roadmap, a capability diagram, or a compliance matrix. This small exercise will train you to think like an enterprise architect who designs not just systems, but communication. Great job! Completed Lesson 5, Views, Viewpoints, and Stakeholders. You've now learned how architecture communicates effectively by connecting people, concerns, and models in a structured way. In our next lesson, we'll explore architecture repository and enterprise continuum, where you'll discover how all these artifacts, views, and building blocks are stored, classified, and reused across the organization. I'm Shivani Kumar from KRTI. Thank you for learning with me, and I'll see you in the next chapter of your TOGAF Foundation journey.